100% Wyoming delegation convention. And you exposed the truth here today with the censure of the governor. It's very important that we do that, because the media is not going to do it. They're not going to expose what's going on. We talk a lot about the coalition of the media, the insiders, the Democrats, that coalition we see at the federal level, we see it here as well. And we in this room, we know that. At the Wyoming Secretary of State's office, we're continuing to advance the ball, not to just talk the talk, because so many of you came up to me and noted that we're following through. We're not just about words on the campaign trail. We made promises to you on that campaign trail, and we're following through on them. That's what all of our elected officials should do. This will be the first election where crossover voting is banned. We will have a closed And I'll tell you, the media, they want me to put $200,000, and the clerks are in on this too, they want me to put $200,000 into a billboard campaign through our office advertising the new party affiliation deadline of May 15th. They want me to go out and spend state money on this. And I said, no way. But that's how dishonest they are. We create a deadline, and they want us to encourage people to engage in a dishonest practice to cross over into a party that they don't belong to. We've also been working hard to keep Trump on the ballot. And I know Harmeet's going to talk a lot about this. Let's give Harmeet a round of applause, her firm representing President Trump around the nation. Harmeet's firm represented Trump around the nation on these outrageous attempts to remove Trump from the ballot. And our office was ahead of this from the start. When we saw what was happening in Colorado with this outrageous finding from the trial judge down there, I said to our guys, I said, we're going to file an amicus brief in the state Supreme Court. We're going to get some other secretaries of state on board, because unfortunately, with how left-wing they are 10 miles south of us, they're probably going to rule against the truth. And we filed that amicus with Missouri and Ohio, the Secretary of State's there. Of course, the state Supreme Court down there didn't listen, and then Trump appealed, and we were the only Secretary of State in the nation to file an amicus brief in that case before the Supreme Court, explicitly siding with President Trump before the Supreme Court. And Leo, every week he does another public records request because he thinks we use state funds on that. America First Legal did a pro bono for the Secretary of State's office. So if he's here, as I've told you now 20 times, that's who did it. And it was totally pro bono.
Fake news.
But we stood for the truth, and we won on that. And that shows you how this left-wing lunacy, they will do anything to try to win. Anything. They can't engage on the issues. So now they're going to try to remove anybody that disagrees with them from the ballot. And you saw Tim Newcomb, when he withdrew his case on President Trump because of the decision in the Supreme Court, what's the first thing he said? He's going to file against me next time. Or even now, I guess, even before I run for office, if I run again. So this is but it just exposes them, right? And in that Supreme Court decision, they did say that state courts could look at state officials. So this is a trend that we've got to watch. I just asked Harmeet about it. She said we're going to be okay, and I think we are, because we've got great attorneys like Harmeet to defend the truth around the nation. The last thing I want to talk about is a couple of our rulemakings that have made the news in the last few months. We did something very simple. The county clerks testified before the Joint Corporations Committee last August and said, look, The Secretary of State's office wants a durational residency requirement to vote, but this isn't going to do anything because right now we don't verify a voter's residence when they register to vote. That's a loophole that we need to take action on. So I went up to them at lunch right after that meeting and I said, okay, let's write a rule to write this into the registration process, which has always been in the Secretary of State's rules. And over the 6 meetings we had with them, their position changed. Suddenly by the end, they weren't for it. But we still went ahead with that. We had a hearing. So many of you were there. Thank you. Overwhelming support for this rulemaking requiring proof of Wyoming residency in order to register to vote. Isn't that basic? And then we threw in another kicker in there saying that non-resident designations on licenses, which is what illegals have, aren't going to be allowed to proceed through the registration process. And amazingly, thank you, amazingly this governor vetoed it. And he claimed we don't have the statutory authority for it. We don't only have the statutory authority for it, the statute requires it. The statute states that we are supposed to verify the information on the voter registration form, which includes an attestation of residency in Wyoming and citizenship. And the media just ran with that lie. That's what this coalition does, and I know we know this here, because this is the group that has to suffer with the lies of the media, the insiders, and the Democrats. But I'll tell you, I'm so inspired with what I've seen the last few days. And I never get down, but I gotta tell you, the last few days, so many of you, really all of you looking out, coming up to me and talking about our work and how you've been following it. I want you to know that inspires me. And I hope that you inspire each other to continue to do the work that this room does to advance our values in the state of Wyoming. This is the room that is going to turn around our state. Thank you so much for your support. If there's anything I can do, I know you know my cell phone, 251-1372. I want you to know I'll never give up on standing against the media, the insiders, the Democrats. I'll never give up on standing for the truth. Thank you so much.